Hello, everybody, and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
I'm Envy Jitters.
And I'm CheerandCosplay.
And I'm sorry that we are now going into December with this, because we were not supposed to, but everything got kind of pushed around a little bit. It's the last day of Big in Japan month, annexing into December. Sorry, King of the Hill week.
Yep.
Okay, one of the most hotly debated things in Japan, sub or dub? King of the Hill.
Well, we don't know. We didn't hear the dub.
Yes, so I'm a failure. I'm going to throw this out there. You could have just looked them up on YouTube.
I have seen some clips from
Japan,
Japan, and
there's clips on YouTube at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just one of those things where I'm just so used to the American voices where I just can't hear them anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, someone did the homework. Thank you, Envy. Anywho, King of the Hill, we watched a couple episodes. Gonna just take a look at a few of them, see what we think, see how we're feeling about it. This is one of the ones from the 90s that was kind of started the adult animation boom that I think we're kind of in the middle of. God, there's so much of it nowadays. But back in the day,
I mean, The Simpsons started it, and then Family Guy kind of, and South Park came out the same year, I want to say.
South Park 97, Family Guy 99. This was 93, so 4 years after The Simpsons and that. So yeah, kind of all in that little space. King of the Hill, I'm going to be honest, the other three I know far more than this show. So I'm just going to say going in, I didn't really watch this one that much because honestly, as a kid, I was like, I had to watch these things in secret because my mom didn't want me watching The Simpsons or Family Guy, and she especially didn't want me watching South Park. But yeah, King of the Hill just didn't look as fantastical as the other one, so it was just kind of eh. But on rewatch now, I might be liking it a little. Maybe now that I actually am a little bit older, I should kind of maybe revisit this a little bit. Did you guys watch any of this when you were younger?
No.
No, I've seen a few episodes, when in my teens and in my early adult years, but every episode I've seen of it, I haven't hated. It's a different type of humor. It's not as in your face most of the time as South Park or Family Guy. It's more, I don't want to say satirical is the right word, but it's more.
I think you're absolutely right with that word. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I was right.
So, I will say I didn't really see much of this until, and when I say much of this, I mean little snippets when I was changing channels. Because I did not watch this when I was younger. And by younger, I mean when I was a teenager. Because I only really became aware that it was a thing when I was maybe late middle school. And I think my friend and I were probably going through shows on the television at a sleepover or something and trying to find something to watch. Because I want to say this was on Adult Swim.
It did get syndicated to Adult Swim with Family Guy and a couple other Fox shows back in the day. The only one they didn't do was The Simpsons. I think they wanted to keep a monopoly on that. Yeah,
so this was in a grouping of shows that I was not allowed to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only show that was on Adult Swim that I ended up getting to watch was Death Note, and that was because my mother watched some of it and she thought that was okay. She's like, okay, this is fine.
She's I do not want you watching the show about the dad in Texas, just sort of living a normal life. But the one where the kid gets a note that just allows him to murder people, yeah, that's some good quality childhood television.
I think she was worried it would be more explicit, and a lot of shows that got syndicated onto Adult Swim, I think my parents had kind of the perception that it was going to have inappropriate humor or inappropriate images, or they were going to have images that are not appropriate for kids to see on the television.
Yeah.
They're like, no, don't watch that.
Was Death Note on Toonami?
No.
Is that how you saw it?
Oh. No, it was on Adult Swim.
Yeah, they weren't doing Toonami on Adult Swim at that point, I don't think. That was
that was when we were in high school that they started doing that. But when I was in middle school, no, it was all Adult Swim. But this one was on at 8 o'clock at night?
Probably
8 or 9.
Than that, I think. But yeah, it was probably one of their first shows on there because it
might have been 9 because I remember as a kid, Cartoon Network would end at 9 and then it would have the warning of, okay, kids, go to bed. This is Adult Swim time or something like that.
Yeah, and it makes sense because this feels like a very good transition show because, like, despite being that it has a little bit of swearing, it has a little bit more adult themes, this is, in all seriousness, a pretty family-friendly show for the most part.
I would say it's tame.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It definitely doesn't get as, like, over the top as, like, Family Guy or a number of the other shows that got syndicated to, like, Adult Swim, where it was like, okay, this is an adult show. This is, like, a show that I'd be like, okay, I would have to, if I watch this with, like, a 10-year-old, I'd have to explain some stuff and kind of be like, okay, don't repeat that. But I also feel like, honestly, the thing that gets me about this is that this is just a regular-ass American sitcom. It just happens to be animated.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It happens to be animated and take place in Texas.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why Japan likes it, because like a lot of anime fans like slice of life shows because they're just exaggerated versions of Japan life. Well, this is a little exaggerated version of Southern Texas life.
Yeah.
Northern.
Oh, well.
Northern Texas.
I was just going to say Southern because I was just going to say Southern because, you know, Texas is a Southern state.
Envy,
South in general, okay.
Envy, are you trying to mess with Texas?
I didn't know there was a civil war between North and South Texas.
There's enough state there that there can be. Yeah. Actually, I don't know. He might. I'm trying to think. Like, I do remember watching some clip where it was something about the Cowboys training camp or something, and they were doing it in a town somewhere in northern Texas, and I think Hank was like, northern Texas, more like southern Oklahoma. Like, so
they said in the episode it took them 8 hours to drive from where they live to Mexico, so I guess put that into perspective then.
To be fair, that's probably anywhere in Texas. You have to drive 8 hours to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Unless you're at the border.
Like, I lived in Austin, it took 8 hours to get out of the state.
Yeah.
Because we were right in the middle.
Did you know Texas is big?
The town this takes place in is fictional, but it is definitely based on Dallas suburbs.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
The only people that like Dallas are from Dallas. Dallas sucks.
Okay, fair. So, wait. Cece, the resident Texan of the group, please give us your opinions on all of this.
Dallas is like the Philadelphia of Texas.
Oh my God, is this It's Always Sunny?
Into perspective. Oh, like, right. Honestly, I'm a little surprised none of y'all have really seen this show, because I feel like this is one of the ones I get, like, the most shock at. Like, you haven't seen King of the Hill?
I mean, I've seen it.
It's like telling any other
when I say I haven't seen it, I
friends.
mean, like, I wasn't watching it on a regular basis. Like, I would watch Family Guy or The Simpsons or American Dad occasionally, like, way, way more often, because it was over the top and goofy and, like, crazy. King of the Hill was just like, this doesn't feel like as much of, like, my thing all the time.
It's more subdued.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never seen it up until last weekend. Saber Spark, YouTuber known for reviewing animation, he did this 6-hour video ranking every single episode.
Wow.
Just think, you could be watching that right now.
Yeah, I watched that in preparation for this, so, like, I know the general character arcs of everyone now, but up until this week, I still had not seen a single episode.
Wow.
Well, there you go. That's our background, and I'll now tell you the episodes that we watched, and you can yell at me in the comments for not including your favorite one. We watched some fewer this week, simply because the episodes were longer than the other ones that we did, so I had to work with less. I included 4 of the early series and 1 from the revival seasons. So the one, Envy had one request, and that was a firefighting We Will Go, where Hank and the boys become volunteer firefighters and burn down the firehouse.
Yeah.
So
that was a thing.
I mean, yeah, the description alone. All right, I'm in. Let's do this. And then they pull a Rashomon. Oh, love it. I had to include probably the biggest meme that came out of this show from the episode Bobby Goes Nuts.
That's my purse. I don't know you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, gotta do it. How to fire a rifle without really trying. 3 days in the condo. and A Sounder Investment. A Sounder Investment is the one from the more recent seasons. And those ones I kind of just got from ranking lists from a number of different sites. Ones that were generally considered in the top 10 or kind of area a little bit, or had high IMDb scores. And I just kind of like looked at the descriptions like, okay, what's something that they would do? How to Fire a Rifle Without Really Trying is about Hank and Bobby, and they're trying to like connect over something, and Hank's having some issues with that. 3 Days in the Condo, dealing with immigration because they did like, I guess, to hit on like important topics at the time. And Sounder Investments also kind of in a similar vein, things that people are dealing with actively, like investment and dealing with changing times and whatnot. So because I mean,
it was basically a big middle finger to modern culture with the big worry about the stock market and investments and stuff.
There was a couple things going on there. I will say, like Mike Judge, I've seen a couple of different things that he's done. I like a few of his movies. I think I said last week that he's very much like a if you like him, you like him. If you don't kind of thing. But yeah, I've seen at least 3 or 4 of his movies. I know he did Beavis and Butthead before this, and then King of the Hill. I've watched all of Silicon Valley. And then there's like Idiocracy, Office Space, Extract, and some of those other ones that he's done. And I will definitely say, like, Envy, you kind of hit the nail on that. I feel like a lot of what he does is satire of Americana, essentially. Kind of just like,
Did I say that?
You said like this is kind of a satire of a American life kind of thing. So I think he did that, but he always kind of like aims in different areas and stuff. Like Beavis and Butthead was like a satire comedy about moron MTV kids at the time, and then this was the one about like this is suburban life and Texas, all that sort of stuff. Like just guy from dealing with changing times and doing all that sort of thing. You could look at Office Space, Idiocracy, any of the other ones. Silicon Valley is kind of him, like, taking the piss out of tech companies and all of that sort of stuff. And honestly, pretty funny show. But yeah, so I think there's like a little bit of like a commentary inherent in all of these a little bit. Some more than others, but yeah. What did you guys think of these episodes? Which ones were your favorites of these?
I mean, the firefighter one. I told you I laughed my ass off the first time I watched it, and I still laughed really hard at a lot of the moments.
It was good.
And this wasn't in the version that you put in the recording, but I remember when I first watched it on TV, they actually did an extra scene at the end credits where they did real firefighter like safety tips, and they had everyone talk like Boomhauer, except for Boomhauer. Boomhauer talked normally, but everyone else did that. I'll tell you what, man. And I thought that was funny. Yeah, I remember watching that as a kid, and I laughed at that. I don't know if I think it was just maybe for that special recording or something like that, but yeah.
I do know sometimes they would do that back in the day whenever they would like touch on a subject that was actually like a possible dangerous thing, and then they'd just be like, oh, hey, by the way, I know we had fun today, but this is a real thing. Try to be like safe about it. Because
here's the thing too. Again, it's a cartoon. You're not supposed to take it seriously, but like Dale should be dead by getting hit by both the fire hydrant and the fire hose, because if you get hit by a pressurized fire hose, your face would get like melted off or by the force of the blast of the water.
Yeah, like not melted, it's peels.
Peeled.
Yeah. It would peel off your skin.
I had a dad who worked in utilities told me a bunch of times how he had like worked at a power plant before they had. It was a whole, I'm not going to go into the whole history of it, but he was essentially like, you got to watch because there were situations where they had to be ready in case there was like something with like superheated steam. And he said, yeah, if superheated steam or something, you would hear it, but also, if you're trying to get out of the building, walk with a broom in front of you because it'll cut it right in half in front of you so you don't walk into it because you can't see it.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. He told me at the age of 7 a bunch of horror stories that could happen to me if I did stuff, and I was like, no, I don't want to go into electrical work. Thank you. So
yeah, but just like I will say, the last 4 episodes, the main humor was just exaggerated stuff based on life lessons, quote unquote, or satire. The Firefly episode was just pure physical comedy. Like was like that was definitely the most slapsticky of all the other ones, especially the times they got into the fights.
Yeah,
and Hank being the voice of reason, and the other 3 just don't give a shit, especially Dale.
I mean, he kind of is the dad friend a little bit, isn't he?
I mean, someone has to be.
Yeah.
If no one else is going to be the dad friend, someone has to protect these idiots.
All right, so what was everybody else's favorite?
I think mine was also the firefighter one. The nuts one was okay. I'm like, this is, a lot of funny, haha, get kicked in the balls humor. And I guess for me, this is like, while it is definitely more subdued than like the other sort of comedies that I guess would have been out around the time, it might just be me. It's normally me as far as like the other things that I would think about with, because I don't know, for some reason I just wasn't finding this quite as hilarious as I had hoped. And maybe if I were a man, maybe this would have like hit home a little bit more, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, I think if Bobby did other self-defense moves that women did besides kicking someone in the balls, it might be a little bit funnier. Like if he did other self-defense moves.
Hold on now.
He only did one move.
No, that's not true. He did one other move. Someone came from behind him and he grabbed his crotch.
Oh.
That's two. But it's all... He's basically Chainsaw Man. I only go for the nuts.
I didn't have a favorite episode, per se. I was just really happy whenever anything, like, specifically Texas came up, which was frequently. Like, all the Longhorns, everything.
Yeah. So, let me ask you this, then. Obviously, Hank's big thing is that he's a propane guy. Is there, like, a big civil war down there between propane and charcoal?
You know what? I wasn't old enough to pay attention to that.
I do know they had an episode about that, I think.
Yeah.
Because Bobby and Peggy both really enjoy having burgers made with charcoal. And he's like, in my own house?
Like, my dad used charcoal, but he's also not from there.
I think it just depends on how you like to grill your meat.
But yeah, like, I grew up on the University of Texas campus, so seeing all the Longhorns merch made me feel like I was at home again. Also, Whataburger. So happy for a Whataburger mention.
Yeah, I need to try that one of these days, but there's not one here where we live.
No, there's not. The thing that made me laugh though was when they went to buy Bobby a gun and they were all like in a case. Like,
yeah.
Why are they? I guess the little ones might be in a case, but they would just be like the hunting rifles would just be on a rack on the wall. Like I've seen fishing poles with more security.
I mean, I think they did have some rifles on the wall behind the sales lady, but it does remind me more of like a Dunham's, where like they have them on the wall and then they also have them in the case for people to look at.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were just making fun of the fact that how I mean, it's still technically easy to get a gun, but how really easy it was to get a gun back in the day.
Yeah.
I am wondering, because I know there was like something else going on in there. Because like just the way they're talking, because like the thing of the episode is that he can't shoot because of childhood trauma, which I think that's why I wanted to include this episode, because it actually kind of like has an interesting thing about like Hank's relationship with his father, because it's not a good relationship. No. His dad was such a shitty father, but Hank, despite not always seeing eye to eye with his son, is always, at least from what I've seen, has always been trying to like be a good father to him and not pass on generational trauma. And if we're seeing anything from like the Sounder investment in the later episodes, I think he did a good job with that.
Yeah.
So
he doesn't always get his son. He always doesn't understand his son, but he's always going to be there for him, and he still loves him.
Yeah, I think I might have seen a couple other episodes that are like Hank and Bobby centric. And I think at the end of the day, and even with his wife, because he doesn't always like, they don't always get each other either. She's always like a little more whimsical, or like kind of like is not always into the same things that he is. But he like, I think one of the good things about him is he's like, okay, I don't think I'm going to like this. And they're like, give it a try. He's like, okay, I will try it. I will not promise you anything, but I will try it. And at the end of it, he's like,
she's an optimist.
Yeah, she's an optimist, and he's, I guess, trying to be more of a realist, but ends up being a pessimist a little more often.
He's more of a pragmatist. Who ends up being a pessimist.
Yeah. But I think usually by the end, he'll be like, look, I still don't like this, but I understand it better, and I appreciate why you like it. So there's at least...
Which is honestly all that you can kind of hope for from your parents sometimes.
Yeah. And I think, like, yeah, you know what? Good for you, Hank. Good for you like helping out your son, being a good husband, being a good father, being all that sort of stuff. So I think that's good.
I mean,
like,
we haven't talked about her yet, but like they had essentially adopted their niece Luann, and they basically raise her as, I don't know if is she Peggy or Hank's niece technically.
I want to say she's on Peggy's side of the family. I'm not sure.
Peggy's,
I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like they took her in, coming from a bad home, and they basically raised her, or at least took her in and treated her like their own. So, there's that.
Yeah, that is good. The 3 days in the condo just felt relevant to today because of immigration stuff. I don't want to get into a whole political thing, but it was just like, we've been talking about this for a while.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was just the dynamic between Hank and Con, him and Con. I mean, neighbors that hate each other, are nothing new in sitcoms, but the fact that one's a conservative American and one's an Asian immigrant, and they both hate each other, but they try to find common ground. That's something.
Yeah. It's like, it's weird. It's like you put people in certain situations and like you find that there's commonality there, but there's also stark differences, and it's interesting how people interact, especially when you both have two very strong opposed personalities.
But then you find out that Bobby and his daughter like each other, and they're good friends, so.
Yeah, that I think was a running thing throughout the series of them kind of flirting around it, and then they actually tried getting together in the sequel series. I'm like, okay, and that was kind of, I think, why I wanted to include the sounder investment thing, because it's like, I feel like we've all had that moment of like, you trying to reconnect with someone from your past a little bit, and you're not sure how to do it. What is the dynamic now? The flow is entirely different. How do you do that sort of thing? And it's not always easy, and I think they do like tackle it in a realistic way of like, okay, should we just go back to doing the things that we used to do? Yeah, but we were kids and it's not, okay. And then like you're just trying to basically relearn who this person is a little bit. I think they did that pretty nice.
I mean, not just even relearn who the person is, but kind of get to know them as who they are now.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because a person can change in like the span of like 5, even 2 years, depending on what's happened in their life and like, just retrospective things. Sometimes people just like, why do I think this way? And then like they change their mind on something, and whatever they believed a couple years ago is not what they believe today. It happens.
Yeah, happens all the time. It's honestly good that it happens, because if you're the same person you were 10 years ago, like, okay, nothing changed, that'd be a little bit weird.
Some people are just very set in their ways.
I mean, I think at a certain point, if I hit 70 and I decide, you know what, I'm not changing anything else, I'd probably be like, okay, fine. You're not long for this world anyway, 70-year-old Al. It's fine.
You got another 30 years.
No,
it's fine.
Please no. Please no.
With how medical technology is going these days.
With how medical prices are going these days.
Uh-huh.
I did crack up, though, in that episode. Bobby tries to be classy and goes to like a 4-hour violin concert or something like that. And she's overworked because, she's studying all night and he's, not into opera. So they literally get kicked out by sleeping and snoring in the middle of the concert. I feel like, that's something that would probably happen to me.
Yeah, and very much like, you clearly did not do enough research on this. Oh yeah, she likes violin. Oh, by the way, I quit the violin like 10 years ago. I did not know that. This is like the longest violin solo ever written, right? It's like 4 hours. I did not know that either. It's like... Honestly, we've all been there, though. We've been like, okay, ooh, this thing, right? Oh, I did not know what I was getting myself into here.
And then their next date is literally at a childhood trampoline park. And then, of course, you're an adult trying to go to a child's trampoline park, so someone gets hurt.
Yeah.
Again, very realistic to what would happen, probably.
But I mean, they figured it out eventually. She just had to be on drugs for a little bit to clear the air. I don't know. Anesthesia's fun. I did like I like the humor here because they catch you with some jokes that like you didn't see coming a little bit. Like they're having this whole thing about like he knows so much about her and he was able to fill out this whole chart even after like not really having seen her for a while. And then the nurse is like, oh wait, I forgot to ask you about this one. For weight, you said I don't ask. He's like, yeah, I know a trap when I see one. Okay, yeah, he gets it. But yeah, I want to say real quick, and maybe part of this was what, as a kid, turned me off to it because it didn't seem as crazy. I really appreciate now, like, how realistic the art style is compared to a lot of other stuff. I feel like every single person, no matter how, like, big or small in the series, gets their own really unique character design. I don't think any character in the show looks like any other character, unless, you know, they have, like, some familial relation or something like that.
Yeah. So we watched a couple episodes from the original series, and then we watched the one from the revival. I like the art style more in the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it has more to do with the fact that the lines are thicker. And to look at the line work and everything from the revival, it's kind of pixely. Like, it almost looks like it was a Flash game.
I will say this is a rip, so I don't know if part of that is just the quality of what I have. You can go on Hulu to try to, like, find out for yourself, because that's where the revival is. But I've kind of felt that way about, like, all animation a little bit. Like,
yeah.
I know it being digital makes it cleaner and makes
it doesn't look cleaner.
Well, like, line work, but, like, it...
No.
I don't know.
It, like, sterilizes it.
That's what I mean. It's like, there's clean and then there's sterile, and I know it helps to make things go a lot faster. It's like, you can do digital art way faster than the old animation style and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
but
much cheaper.
You lose something. You lose kind of, like, the really, like, personal touch of, like, a hand-drawn animation.
Yeah. Also, the tone of color is a lot warmer in the original for whatever reason. And it looks homier in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no. It's sort of the same thing of, like, the sort of sterile... I don't want to say sterile, because it's not like it looks bad. It just feels different. Like...
It's new, bright, shiny, updated.
And I'm wondering if part of that is, again, the switch from, like, digital versus, like, some of the more analog stuff that they were doing beforehand. Maybe that had something to do with, like, oh, here are the colors that we're capable of getting versus here's the colors that, like, this is... I think a lot of times, like, I felt like the color palette kind of did feel like Family Guy a little bit.
What, this one?
Yeah,
the new one?
The most recent one.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times it's like, oh, we don't have to color anything. We can just do, like, a paint bucket thing for whatever the shape is. So it feels smoother, it feels cleaner, but it doesn't feel like it's there in the same way. I think that's the best way I have to describe it. Versus, like, I feel like when you had the animation back in the day where it was like you actually had to draw them, you had to, like, paint them, you had to do all this other sort of stuff to, like, actually animate all of it, even if they were using some digital techniques here and there, it still felt handcrafted versus printed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm not, like, trying to, like, rag on it, because I think it still looks good. I do think, like, especially, like, how they updated the character models, especially to show this is, like, 10, 15 or something years. I think it's only 10 years later or so.
10 years,
yeah. I think they did a good job. I think it's very realistic. I think it makes sense how they did all of that, and I appreciate it. But at the same time, yeah, I miss it a little bit when it looks just a little more imperfect, I guess.
Yeah. It's not a labor of love.
Yeah. At least it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
But I don't know the word. Maybe it's just a matter of comparison, because I'm sure I wouldn't say that about something that came out today and looked how it does today. It's only when we're comparing it to what it was before, really.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've said similar things about other shows, mostly with, like, how pixely line work kind of bothers me. Just because it's really disconcerting. But yeah, no, and the thing is I find a lot of, and maybe it's just American cartoons, they use a lot of thicker lines.
Yeah.
So the pixelated thing is not really something that we really see. But then also, I feel like King of the Hill was originally meant to be watched on, like, a CRT TV.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it came out in the 90s, so yeah, it was still standard def.
Yeah, so who's to say that, new King of the Hill doesn't look fine on our HD TVs, but I don't know. I feel like seeing the line work would really bother me, but I don't know.
What did you think? Yin, we haven't heard too much from you from this episode.
Yeah, I don't think I have too many thoughts. I think that's the problem. I thought the show was okay. I don't know.
Had you seen any King of the Hill before this?
I had seen clips, but I hadn't seen full episodes before. And I think it's funny at times. I think it's funny in small doses. And I think it's kind of good in a sitcom kind of way, like what you mentioned. But I don't know. I didn't love it and I didn't dislike it, I guess. I think some of it was, I don't know, maybe not geared towards me or something. I don't know. It felt like a very, I don't want to say it, but I don't know.
This felt like it felt like a very white male centric weird show.
You said it for me.
I won't deny it. It is.
Well, that's part of the reason why I was kind of
Yeah.
I also feel this way. I know this is a very beloved show, but I'm not the target audience.
Yeah, I understand.
And I don't think Yin is the target audience either.
All right, I get why a lot of people love it, and I don't want to hate on it or anything. But yeah, it's very white male centered. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it's well written. I think a lot of the jokes are pretty good, but it's I think some of it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I guess. But
I think some of it doesn't age super well.
I mean,
no.
I mean,
definitely not.
Some of the early episodes have some stuff in it where it's kind of okay, all right.
But I mean, I did think a lot of parts were funny, and I think they did a good job with the characters for the most part. Making them memorable. I think a lot of the characters and events are really iconic. I totally get why this is so popular. And I think that there's a lot to appreciate here. And I do think the old animation had its charm and everything. I think the show overall has a charm to it. But I think, I don't know, like I said, it might just not be for me, and that's okay. But I think it's a pretty good show, I guess.
Have you seen any other Mike Judge stuff?
No,
like I said,
not familiar with him. But.
I'm kind of interested to see if you want to watch those, or if you're because I said it before. I think he's very much okay, you like his stuff, you're into it, or you're not.
I've heard that he has a sort of centrist kind of viewpoint similar to South Park, and sometimes I don't like that on the fencey kind of mentality. Sometimes it bothers me a little. I think that might be part of my thing, but
I would say watch Idiocracy because I think it's a really funny comedy movie, but then it's also slowly turning into a documentary, and so I'm kind of oh, never mind.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'm not familiar with his other work. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like this one where it just depends on who you are. I think the quality is pretty good. I'm not saying anything negative about the quality of this show. I think it is a very good quality show. I just think, like I said, it's maybe not meant for me, and that's all right.
Yeah. I would say if watch anything else, check out probably Office Space, because that's probably the most well-known of his other ones.
Is it live action?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you know, all of his movies bomb because apparently no one ever knows how to market them, and then they do very well on video because they become cult classics.
Oh.
There's two famous scenes from that movie. There's the one guy who's the dickish boss, where he's like, if you can come into work tomorrow, that would be, what is it? How does it go? That'd be great.
If you could do that, that'd be great.
And then there's also a famous scene where was it a printer where they destroy it in slow motion?
The fucking copying machine.
Oh, the copying machine.
PC load letter? The fuck does that mean? Honestly, there's a lot of really good lines from the movie at the very least, and I mean, you did work in an office recently. Maybe that'd be a thing that you. I think it's ultimately it's like the show The Office. Not in the comedy way, but in like the people can relate to this really easily because like so many people have dealt with these situations. Sort of thing.
And I do think there are things to relate to here. Like I feel like I am being harsh on it. The family stuff, like you guys said, is like pretty good. I do like aspects of this, and I had like an enjoyable time overall watching it. But I guess like it was like a mixed bag for me. But like what was good, I think was good. You know.
I still think, Envy, you're right. The funniest part of this entire watching experience was Boomhauer talking normal and then everyone else talking like him in his head.
Yeah, that was funny. One thing I will say is let Bobby kick people in the nuts.
I will give him look, as someone with him, I'll give him that first one. I think you were in a very bad position. Go for the nuts. Past that point, he kind of instigated those fights. And at that point, I'm like, no, fight fair. But
if he hasn't been shown how to fight fair,
that's true.
Gotta fight somehow.
Hank should have taken more responsibility with that, I think.
I feel like if no one at the YMCA has an open class for martial arts, take him to a martial arts class. Find something in the area. Maybe you can spend a little bit of money to get him some lessons. I don't know what their financial situation is, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, the YMCA can do something for you, but maybe the YMCA is all they have. I don't know what their town looks like.
I think part of it comes back to sort of the central thing with Hank and Bobby of like, there's a disconnect between them that I think they're both trying to overcome. And I think a lot of it comes from Hank knows how he had to do things in his life. And, you know, that's his experience. He's going to try to impart that experience to his son so that he can learn from it as well. But at the same time, the stuff that worked for Hank doesn't actually probably rarely works for Bobby.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby has to find a workaround.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I feel like it is a kind of where Hank, while trying to be a good dad, sometimes needs to put in a little bit more effort.
Yeah. Like,
not to say he's not trying his best, but the forethought sometimes isn't there.
No. And I think, again, it comes down to they don't understand each other super well all the time. And if they did maybe a little bit better, maybe he would have like thought, no, this worked for me, but it's not going to work for you. But I mean, I think that's a lot of the episodes, they do kind of overcome that a little bit. And I think that is good. I'm not sure, but I think they also had a similar thing in recent episodes. I know Bobby becomes a chef. He's very into food. He's very into like getting creative with a whole bunch of things. And he has his own restaurant. So he's actually doing very well. He has him and his dad get into a fight or something because he decides to do some sort of like, however he's preparing the food is meant to be in a traditional way. So he's not using propane. And he's like, whoa, what? No son of mine, and blah, blah. But, like, at the end of it all...
get it, you're a propane salesman.
He's a retired propane salesman. But, you could even kind of, like, see it in some of these early episodes where he's like, yeah, well, what about when Bobby has his own propane business? He clearly has a desire for what he wants his son to be like, but then it's also him overcoming that and being like, okay, that is not my son. This is my son, and I need to understand him. And love him. And he does. Like, by the end of the episode, he's like, look, I still think propane's the best option, but you're right. They didn't have that option back then. Maybe if they did, they would, but they didn't. And the food was excellent. They find a way. So should we bring up John Redcorn in that whole situation?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That sucks. That happened.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Jonathan Jose Gonzalez was killed earlier this year. He was John Redcorn for King of the Hill. He was also Chief Ken Hotote in Parks and Recreation, which is mostly where I know him from. Honestly, always a very funny comedic actor. A lot of things that he did. He was also a musician in that, and he was murdered. And that should not have happened. Pretty sure it was a hate crime in that because he was openly gay.
Yep.
I'm glad they dedicated that last episode to him. Kind of wish that maybe it had been a little more centric to his character, maybe, but still. Okay. Anything else we want to talk about? I guess we should also mention Dale's actor also recently died. From what I understand, natural causes. So, but also still sucks. We're losing people who were iconic elements of a lot of these cartoons, and yeah. I will say Dale might have been the funniest character from this show on some level, because he just had the wildest
He's the most
stuff.
unhinged.
Yeah.
I mean, another popular meme from that show is pocket sand. It wasn't in the episode we watched, but
I'm sure there's a compilation of like all the insane shit that he's done.
or the fact that his son, quote unquote, is clearly John Redcorn's son,
Yeah.
but yet he's so delusional into thinking that it's his natural kid.
Okay. Do you know the fan theory around that?
No.
Okay, so there's a fan theory that he does know. And he specifically does not say anything as a form of revenge against his wife and John Redcorn. It'd be very easy to, like, end the relationship, do whatever, but he is specifically like, no, I have the best wife in the world, and he just lets her sit in that guilt. And his revenge against John Redcorn is essentially, yeah, I know he's your son, but he's not your son, he's mine. Like, I know there's like from one of the earlier episodes, there was something with, like, I guess John Redcorn was, like, kind of sad. He was like, I think Joseph hates me. And Dale's just like, Joseph doesn't even know you. And it's like, ooh, that's rough. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting thought. Joseph definitely, no matter what, is Dale's son just because of, like, how he is, too. He's not nearly as, like, conspiracy theory crazy like his dad is, but he's a few marbles short of a sack, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, any other things we want to talk about with this show?
Well, Luann and Lucky's voice actors also died, which is why they aren't in the new season.
Oh, God, right. I forgot about that. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we forgot to talk about the most important thing of the show, the iconic theme song and the iconic opening animation.
It's really fucking good.
It is iconic.
I'm trying to think, like, because, like, I think I probably knew that theme song before I actually knew what this show was, just because it's a really fun, just guitar song.
Yeah.
The time-lapse thing is fun. I do like what they did with the new one, where it's like, yeah, okay, what happened between the series? And then it's just like, yeah, no, here's a time-lapse of 10 years. And we're going to include, like, yeah, no, we went through COVID, we did all this other sort of stuff. I might have to look to see what Dale ran for, like, a government thing or something, because, like, he is very much like an insane conspiracy theorist who thinks the government's constantly out to get you. So what
Didn't they say he ran for mayor?
You know what? I could see him doing that, and just, did he make it? You know what? Don't tell me.
I don't know.
I'm gonna find out. Definitely up there. I don't know if it's as iconic as, like, The Simpsons, because, like, The Simpsons is a whole thing with all the different stuff that they do in the couch gag and, like, checking out the whole town. Really good. But it's one of the few, like, theme songs amongst them that I'm like, you guys should kind of, like, jam out to this a little bit. Like, I can't say the same thing about, like, Family Guy or even South Park, really.
I don't even know Family Guys.
It's
Wait,
like
South Park's is kind of vibey. I don't know.
A little bit. They changed it up a little bit here and there, but could you just, like be driving in the car? You don't drive, but, like, if you were just driving in the car, could you just listen to the South Park theme song?
That would be a little goofy.
That'd be a little weird. But if you just put on the King of the Hill theme song,
yeah. Sure. I don't know Family Guys though.
I'm sure if I played it for you, you'd know it.
Okay.
But it's like
it's one of those songs. It's one of those songs that actually has lyrics.
Yeah, it's
so, like once you hear it,
it's kind of like a big band type song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
That's another one I never really watched much of.
Yeah, it's one of those songs that's meant to parody, like, family sitcom openings of the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Watch, like, the first couple seasons. After a certain point, they kind of go downhill, in my opinion, with Family Guy. Family Guy's still going, and I gotta be real with you.
Crazy.
They've gotten weird.
It's not good. I've watched every single episode, and I hate myself for doing it.
Wow. How many episodes are there?
I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of think for Family Guy, it started to go downhill whenever American Dad showed up, because I think that's where Seth MacFarlane started putting his energy towards.
Wait, am I getting them confused?
Maybe. I don't know.
To me, the show went downhill after season 9 whenever he stopped being the showrunner. and was just the voice actor.
I mean, that'll do it.
Because say what you will about him creatively, because that's another guy whose legacy is mixed, but he definitely has a sense of humor, and he stuck by it with the early seasons, and nowadays it's just beating the dead horse into the ground with all their jokes.
Yep.
So basically, too long didn't read of it. I didn't watch the show until I was in high school. I was obsessed with it. I watched every episode, and then I made a pact with myself internally that I was going to watch every single episode of the show, no matter how bad it was. And I've still kept up to it to this day.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I love the hustle.
No, I don't. I should have gave up on it 10 years ago.
Fair.
I mean, at this point, you gotta keep it up.
I mean,
that's why I'm doing it.
I would have been like, you know what? Adam West is gone. I don't need to see anymore.
I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there that have seen every single Simpsons episode, so I guess they beat me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else to talk about here?
No.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to move on to December proper now. So, well, we were kind of already watching some American shows. Why don't we just keep at it? Disney-cember, anyone?
Disney-cember.
Disney-cember. Not my moniker. That's from someone else. But it works
sense.
too well. So we're going to start Disney month with not really Disney, but sort of. It's owned by Disney, so we're just going to say whatever. But hey, did you guys like Bobby?
Yeah.
Everybody likes Bobby.
Sure.
Well, he played another kid during childhood, and that was in Recess. So we're going to watch some Recess. We're going to hit some other animation stuff from Disney that, you know what, was all coming around the time that we were watching a lot of this. We're going to watch Proud Family, because, it's a good-ass show. We're going to watch Kim Possible, because, it's a good-ass show. And American Dragon Jake Long, because, it's quite frankly an underrated show.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
And it's basically anime.
It had two different art styles, but it was a good show.
Frankly, most of these are basically anime when you really get down to it. So, that's going to be December, and then we'll figure out what we're doing in the new year. Oh, boy. 2026 is coming up.
Wow.
Ay. All right. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoy this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!